Devin Koepke on Green-Red Breach against Jadine Klomparens on Infect. So let's go ahead and get them up and running. Who do you think has the edge here?
Whoever's on the play.
Good point.
I think this is just going to be, you know, Devin has a little bit of interaction. You know, he has those chalices. He has Anger of the Gods. But I think it's, in a lot of ways, it's going to be like two ships passing through the night. And I think that Jadine is the slightly faster deck, so she's likely to come out ahead. But a well-timed Anger of the Gods can really swing tempo in Devin's favor. So I feel like that's basically what it's going to hinge on.
Jadine's going to lead off with an Inkmoth Nexus. On Devin's first turn, he'll shock with a Stomping Ground, fall to 18, and suspend Search for Tomorrow with 2 counters on it. Jadine's going to use a Windswept Teeth and fall down to 17, finding a copy of Breeding Pool. Let's see if we're just going to attack with an Inkmoth Nexus or add some creatures to our board.
So I would definitely prefer to have something like a Blighted Agent here, but it looks like it's just going to be an attack with the Inkmoth Nexus. And the Infect deck, it only has 12 creatures with Infect, including the Inkmoth Nexus, so it's pretty typical for them to have only 1 in their draw.
All right, well, Devin just has a second copy of Search for Tomorrow along with the Valakut and the Molten Pinnacle, and going to pass the turn back to Jadine. Let's see if Jadine is able to apply some pressure or maybe even kill her opponent here.
So one thing that's nice about this Inkmoth Nexus is it does dodge Anger of the Gods. You know, Anger of the Gods being a sorcery means it's always going to miss this Inkmoth Nexus. So while Inkmoth Nexus is the more, it's a clunkier attacker because it uses Jadine's mana, it is also her most resilient threat in this scenario.
All right, so Jadine is just going to activate her Inkmoth Nexus, pump it with a Pendelhaven to make it a 2/3, get in 2 points of Infect damage. That's going to knock Devin still at 18 life, but now he has 3 poison. On his upkeep, Search for Tomorrow is going to resolve. He's going to search out a mountain. Let's see what he has for his third turn.
In addition to Inkmoth Nexus dodging Anger of the Gods, it also dodges Primeval Titan, which is quite relevant as well. And I feel like, you know, Jadine probably wants to try to line up a kill on her turn. A lot of these red-green land decks, they can kill you on turn 4. So that's basically the target, you know, turn you want to kind of have in your head.
Well, Devin's just going to play a mountain for his turn. Let's see what he's going to do. Some math is what it looks like.
Yep. And I feel like Devin is probably not going to do anything particularly big on this turn. He's just going to look to set himself up for the following turn. And so I think what he's counting is just, you know, if I play a Primeval Titan next turn, what do I need in play right now? Oh,
ooh, looks like he's
well,
just
with
gonna
Simian
do the
Spirit
breach
Guide,
this
he can
turn.
do it this turn.
Primeval Titan is going to trigger.
Wow. And this is going to be a pretty big deal. This also means that the... so I have to imagine that Devin essentially has Jadine on a 1-turn clock at this point.
All right, so he's going to attack. So it's going to be 18 points of damage, and that's just going to actually kill Jadine on turn 3.
I believe Jadine was on the play, right?
Yeah, that's turn 3.
I think that was turn 3.
Yeah,
that is
so
crazy.
Search for Tomorrow, put him at three lands. Land for the turn, land 4. Simian Spirit Guide through the breach.
And he didn't
18.
even need the second Search for Tomorrow.
No.
All right, we got to ban this deck. Somebody get Richard Garfield on the line. I know he's not responsible for this, you know, bannings anymore, but we got to talk to him first.
There's no fair magic that involves Primeval Titan.
Oh my
Devin
gosh.
Koepke is going to take that game, killing Jadine on turn 3.
Wow.
Part of me just wants to feel bad for Jadine.
Unbelievable.
It sucks to just get turn 3'd, but she's playing Infect, so I just really have no sympathy.
That's true.
Let's take a look at the player's sideboard. We have 2 Pulse of Marassa, 1 Ancient Grudge, 2 Shatterstorm, a Reclamation Sage, 3 copies of Sudden Shock, an Anger of the Gods, 3 Obstinate Baloth, and 2 Grafdigger's Cage for Devin. How do we think he's going to sideboard?
So I like the Sudden Shocks. I think they're just specifically for this matchup. I think they're going to be one of his best ways to interact with what Jadine is doing, and he can also bring in the Anger of the Gods that can, provide a little bit of value. I don't think he's going to bring in the Obstinate Balos, even though that they would serve as a blocker, but they're a little slow. The life gain's not particularly valuable, and Jadine has creatures that fly, as well as potentially things like Distortion Strike to get through a blocker.
Yeah, actually, just only Glistener Elf can be blocked by Obstinate Balos. Now, on Jadine's side, we have 2 Dismember, 2 Surgical Extraction, 1 Twisted Image, 1 Gutshot, 3 Kitchen Finks, 2 Nature's Claim, 1 Nissa Voices Zendikar, 1 Viridian Corruptor, 1 Dispel, 1 Spellskite. What do we think she's doing?
I mean, the options are pretty slim. I'm pretty sure in a matchup like this, she's generally looking to just race. I really don't see anything that I like a whole lot. Sometimes you can consider something like a Kitchen Finks, just because sometimes being at 17 rather than 19 life can actually make a big difference. That said, you can also, tag, something like a Search for Tomorrow with Surgical Extraction, but I don't think that that's actually a particularly good idea.
The only addition that I would have is Dispel can counter through the breach, so it might be relevant to bring in the Dispel.
Good call.
But yeah, that really just 2 ships passing in the night.
Yep. Yeah, except for Devin's ship might be faster and be the one that can actually interact.
Fair enough.
So we'll see.
Now, Infect is a deck that's been championed by Tom Ross and Todd Stevens. Todd Anderson has played it. Brad Nelson's played it. And
yeah, it's just a great deck.
And all of those players have spent a little bit of time writing for the SCG newsletter.
Ooh, nice.
It's your source for Magic the Gathering news. You can get the latest on the SCG Tour. You can watch the SCG Tour Match of the Week, receive exclusive deck lists and advice, catch up on all the event results, and read up on an exclusive Cardboard Crack comic. And you can sign up absolutely free. Go to starcitygames.com/newsletter. Now, the last time we were in Columbus, do you know who won that Open?
I remember holding his leg in the air.
Yeah. Devin Koepke won the last time we were in Columbus. That was the Eldritch Moon release weekend.
Yep.
With Bant Company, part of Team Card Holders 24 from Okawville, Illinois. He has 4 open top 8s with a win. He didn't have internet until he was 21 years old. He will take on all comers in arm wrestling, and he owns a donkey named Waldo. Is this 2 lies and a truth, or 2 truths and a lie? What's the deal there?
I call false on all accounts.
All accounts. No internet until 21. That's kind of strange.
Yeah, well, I mean, it sounds like he just grew up on a farm that, time traveled back like 1,000 years.
Maybe. Who knows? Jadine does have a Windswept Teeth. Going to get a basic Force, fall down to 18, or down to 19, and play that Noble Hierarch. Actually, going back to game 1, if Jadine doesn't fetch for a shock there, because she never uses the blue mana, she doesn't lose on that attack and could potentially kill on her turn.
Yeah.
That's how close the margins in these games in Modern are.
Yeah, I mean, that's true, but if you only have 1 fetch land in your blue-green deck, I mean, Jadine doesn't have that many blue cards, but she would have loved to have drawn like a Blighted Agent. Distortion Strike could have been relevant, and she has Spell Pierces in her deck. So if you only have access to 1 fetch land, I think you're better off getting the dual land.
Could be. Hindsight's always 20/20.
Hindsight is 20/20.
All right, so Jadine is going to play a Pendlehaven and a Glistener Elf. Devin did suspend Search for Tomorrow on turn 1. Let's see if he has any action here on turn 2. I see through the breach and a green card, so we might have fireworks yet again. Nope, the green card was the Tri-Belter.
Which does block, notably. Jadine, does have a trigger to make her elf into potentially a 3/4, but her Tri-Belter can just block and sack. This is a bit of a better start for Jadine, assuming she doesn't get tagged by Anger of the Gods. Anger of the Gods would be very, very good, but this hand of hers has a lot more mana, few more options. She's still at 19 rather than 18 life, has access to all of her colors of mana.
And so she is just going to attack with that Glistener Elf. Be a 3/3 from the 2 Exalted triggers on the Noble Hierarch. Devin will block it and fetch out a Mountain. Jadine will play a tapped breeding pool and pass the turn back.
And if Devin has another Simian Spirit Guide, we could see a Through the Breach, on this turn, or just a hard cast Primeval Titan with a Simian Spirit Guide in Forest.
Yeah, I mean, he just has to have a land to be able to play Through the Breach here because he had 2 mana accelerators.
Yep. And he does play a bunch of summoners packs.
He has a Wooded Foothills, but here it's an Anger of the Gods.
Wow, brutal.
This is going to be huge.
And I like how he played his land first. It's pretty minor, but at least it gives him a way to play around Spell Pierce. So this is still the full 3-for-1, but Jadine gets to keep her Infect creature on the board.
Yeah, so she Pendelhavens her Glistener Elf to make it a 2/3, and then Blossoming defenses it to make it a 4/5, so it lives through the Anger of the Gods. Jadine will attack with her Glistener Elf, pump it. Pendelhaven, going to be 2 points of poison. Devin's going to fall to 19 health and uses Wooded Foothills on Jadine's end step.
And there's a good chance that on this turn, Devin just kills her. And that would mean that, if Devin is able to do that, it means that he was able to block on a turn, sweep on a turn, and then kill on the following turn, which is pretty unbelievable. Normally when you think of going for a turn 4 kill, you think of the deck, having sacrificed some of those early turns to be able to line that up. But Devin's kind of been able to do something interactive on every turn thus far.
All right, well, there is a Valakut. Oh, he doesn't have anything.
Yeah.
Just going to pass the turn back.
So this has got to be a huge sigh of relief for Jadine. She certainly knew that there was potential for Devin to just slam a Primeval Titan and essentially end the game. Although this can't be, she's got to feel pretty bad after that too.
Yeah.
So
Pendelhaven's going to try and pump. Listener Elf, Sudden Shock will take care of it. Devin does have 5 mountains and a Valakut on the battlefield. Every mountain, oh, he has a forest, never mind. He only has 4 mountains. There's the 5th. Are we just going to get a Grey Ogre? All right, Grey Ogre.
I would have liked to have seen him cast Through the Breach so that creature would have been able to get 2 damage on this turn. I think that would have been a good play.
All right, Simian Spirit Guide for Devin, just a 3-mana 2/2. Devin now has 3 Through the Breaches in his hand.
And the clock is ticking.
Yeah, attack for 2, knock Jadine down to 17.
Yep.
Jadine's going to fall to 16 with the fetch land activation. He'll get another tapped breeding pool.
And one of the things I like about this red-green Through the Breach deck is now that we're at this state, and if you look at the red-green Through the Breach deck as a combo deck, you would think, all right, they've spent most of their hand. They're kind of out of gas right now. It's going to take a long time for them to be able to set something up that's powerful. But because Valakut is in play, and basically every single card in Devin's deck is a land, he's just going to be able to bolt something basically every turn, which is pretty sweet. It allows him to play the explosive combo style as well as a more attrition-y style quite well.
Right. Jadine finds a Glistener Elf. Devin's going to cast Through the Breach on Jadine's end step. With no creature in hand, prompting the Dispel from Jadine.
What a master.
I mean, you got 3, you might as well.
You might as well.
Oh, there's a Valakut. So
what a great play by Devin Koepke, though.
Jeez.
There's a reason he's got one of those jerseys on. What a master. Jadine's a very good player herself, though, and this game is far from over.
All right, we're blocking. Got to pump it. Jadine has a lot of pump in hand.
Mm-hmm.
Through the Breach for Devin. all right, you got me.
Yeah.
I got nothing. What does he draw? Farseek.
That gets a double bolt?
Yeah, 2 triggers.
Be really nice if that thing was instant speed. That'd be pretty nice. A Sakura Tribe Elder would have actually been a great draw this turn.
Yeah. Although that Inkmoth Nexus is poised to potentially just end the game if Jadine has a bunch of pump in her hand.
Yep. And we see that in Devin's all lands deck, he's kind of drawn a lot of lands. He really needed to find a Primeval Titan this game, and he basically has 7 copies of it because he does have 3 Summoners packs.
Well, here's a Farseek. That's going to go get a Mountain.
And I feel like he's got to send at least one of these triggers at the Glistener Elf.
Just to make Jadine use a card in her hand.
Yeah, I mean, she might just let it die, saying, I've got enough mana, I'm just going to protect my Inkmoth Nexus. And she does. But still a small victory for Devin. But this means that there's a good chance that Devin is just dead here.
All right, so a kicked Vines, 4, 5, 6. It's not going to be enough to kill unless she has a mutagenic growth.
And I think...
and she does.
Yep.
Which will be exactly lethal.
And this is where Devin goes through the breach. That'd be really funny.
Well, all right, well, Jadine Klomparens is going to pick up Game 2 here against Devin Koepke with her Infect deck. Let's take a look back at the player sideboards. Do we think that Devin's going to make any changes?
I don't think either player is going to make any changes, and I think we're going to see you know, a lot of what we've already seen for our third game.
Man, that through the breach with nothing.
Oh, that was so good.
Pretty good.
Yeah. I mean, at that point, it really is a little bit of a free roll, but still having the sense to do it and potentially bait out something like a Dispel, which he did, is just great.
So while these players are finishing up shuffling as we head into Game 3, let's learn a little bit more about the Invitational Qualifiers.
Ooh, yeah.
So StarCityGames.com,
playmat.
Invitational Qualifiers. Here's the current kit. You get an Invitational Qualification, an exclusive playmat, a top 8 pin, Invitational winner tokens. So Max McVitie was the Season 1 Invitational winner. Liam Lonergan is the Season 2 Invitational winner. Get some SCG Premium vouchers. And the most important part of this is your Invitational Qualification comes in a nice blue envelope.
Yeah, and a fun little trivia fact. Do you see that playmat? I ended up being the model for the guy punching.
Were?
Yeah, that's me.
I believe it. I definitely believe it. So let's learn a little bit more about Jadine here while these players finish up shuffling. She is 26 from New Britain, Connecticut. She has 2 open top 8s, 1 invitational top 8. A large number of social media followers don't play Magic or know who she is, but are fans of Filipino singers James Reid and Nadine
Oh, wow,
Lustra,
that's so
who
great.
formed the love team Jadine. That's funny.
Yeah.
Despite number one, she still loves her name and hasn't become jaded on puns on it yet. Why do you make me read these? She once had a gun pulled on her by a 9-year-old while delivering pizza. That is absurd.
Geez. The wild and crazy life of Jadine Klomparens.
You know,
Sounds like a good...
New Britain, Connecticut is just the wild, wild west.
Yeah. Sounds like some good material for like a sitcom character.
Yeah?
Yeah, I could see that.
That's fair.
All right, so now that Devin is going to be on the play, I'd have to give him pretty big edge to win this third game. Like we saw previously, I think being on the play is just one of the defining factors of this matchup. It is kind of like 2 ships passing in the night, although Devin does have a little bit of interaction for what Jadine is doing. So the fact that he can pair a little bit of interaction with being on the play, I think is going to bode very well for him.
Yeah, the Anger of the Gods in the second game was huge.
Yeah.
Sudden Shock is great interaction. He was just missing some pieces of the puzzle.
Yeah.
Both players are going to keep their opening 7. Devin's going to lead off on a tapped land. Looks like it's a Valakut, the Molten Pinnacle. Jadine is going to start off with a Probe. We've got Through the Breach, Primeval Titan, Farseek, Anger of the Gods, Wooded Foothills, Primeval Titan. And that's not a bad set of cards.
Yeah, essentially 3 lands and a powerful removal spell. So Jadine might be able to play around this by leading with an Inkmoth Nexus. but a lot of her best draws involve Noble Hierarch, so that's got to be a little disappointing for her.
So Jadine will fall to 18 from the Pain of Life for the Gitaxian Probe. Let's see what she does on her first turn. I'm just going to go to 16 and draw another card.
Don't need that life anyway.
We might be setting up trying to kill with Become Immense before Anger of the Gods becomes relevant.
Yeah, and the other thing is Jadine may just play one threat, get a little bit of damage in, and then just let it die to Anger of the Gods. You know, that's not completely unreasonable.
Looks like she's going to fall to 13 and play a Noble Hierarch. So if Devin gets through the breach this Primeval Titan, it's basically lethal.
Yeah. He needs 2 lands, but his deck is mono lands. So assume he's going to be able to get 2 mana sources in his next 3 draw steps. And there's one of them.
All right, so got a Wooded Foothills. He's going to fall to 19 and cast Farseek.
I'm just doing a little shortcutting here. So now Jadine knows for
fall
sure
to 17.
that Anger of the Gods is coming up, and I wonder if she has something like a Spell Pierce. Spell Pierce would be great.
Yeah, or Dispel.
Yep. Well, Spell only hits instants, right?
Dispel?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, for the Anger of the Gods?
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, there's another land.
Wow. And so Devin's potentially able to go turn 3 Anger of the Gods, turn 4 through the Breach Primeval Titan. That is a sick line.
He's going to cast the Anger.
And so Jadine's trying to figure out, you know, if I can slog through this Anger of the Gods, you know, and I have enough access to enough mana, you know, am I going to be able to win? And I like this play from Jadine because there's a good chance this game ends before she has a chance to cast all of her cards. So she wants to not only preserve her mana, but also have an opportunity to use her cards.
Yeah. So Jadine's going to use a kicked Vines of Vastwood to save her Noble Hierarch from the Anger of the Gods. She knows that there's the possibility of Through the Breach Primeval Titan next turn if Devin has a land.
Yeah, and here I feel like Jadine has to have some sort of counter magic or an actual kill right here.
So Blossoming Defense, and if she has Become Immense.
So that's 4. Wow,
Yeah.
Brutal.
Just enough cards. So saving
Jadine,
the Noble Hierarch.
And Jadine wins on turn 3, right?
Yes.
2 turn 3. What is this, Legacy? What are we doing here? Somebody get Richard Garfield on the line. We have
ban
a couple
these cards.
cards to ban. Get him out of here.
Become